For decades, right, the rivalry between India and Pakistan has been one of the world's most dangerous flashpoints. We all know that. But a very recent crisis, one that started with a terrorist attack and was met with this incredibly swift military response, has totally changed the rules of the game. This wasn't just another border skirmish. Not at all. This was a high-tech showdown that revealed brand new strategies, new alliances, and frankly, a frightening new reality for two nuclear-armed neighbors. So that leads us to the central question we're going to dig into today. How on earth did this recent conflict become a live-fire testing ground for advanced weapons from global superpowers? The answer? Well, it shows a huge shift in how this old rivalry is being fought now. Not just on the ground, but in the air, in cyberspace, and with the quiet but very heavy involvement of a third massive player. So, what was the spark? What lit the fuse? Well, it all started with a brutal attack that absolutely demanded a response. But that response, which was called OperationSindoor, it wasn't just a simple retaliation. No, it was a statement. It completely bypassed traditional ground forces and just escalated the conflict with a speed and a precision that has never been seen before in that region. And you can bet the world was watching, holding its breath. This quote from the UN Secretary General, it just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the stakes. This isn't just some regional dispute. When these two nations exchange fire, the risk of a much wider, catastrophic conflict puts the entire globe on edge. To really get these new rules, you have to see just how fast this all went down. Okay, look at this. April 22nd, a terrorist attack in Pahalgam kills 26 tourists. Just over 2 weeks later, boom, May 7th, India launches OperationSindoor. For the next 3 days, Pakistan hits back, and both sides are just trading blows using long-range standoff weapons. It actually took direct international intervention to get a ceasefire by May 10th. Think about that. In less than 72 hours of open fighting, the entire game had changed. Now, to understand what really made this clash so different, we have to look beyond the two main players. There's this all-weather friendship, as it's often called, that played a really critical, maybe even decisive role behind the scenes, giving one side a massive technological edge. And that leads to the crucial question, right? Who else was on the field? Because this wasn't a two-player game. The answer completely reshapes the power dynamic in the region, because the quiet partner in this whole conflict was China. Okay, now just look at these numbers. What's incredible here is the sheer scale of dependency this reveals. According to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, a staggering 81% of Pakistan's arms imports between 2020 and 2024 came from China. I mean, this isn't just a partnership. This is the very foundation of Pakistan's modern military. And Beijing's support during the crisis, it went way beyond just selling hardware. According to sources in the diplomatic and security world, Pakistan was given access to 44 Chinese military satellites. This is huge. It provided critical signals intelligence, which could have helped them track Indian troop and missile movements in real time. On top of that, China also reportedly helped reorganize Pakistan's radar and air defense systems and supplied them with advanced J-10C fighters armed with those nasty long-range PL-15 missiles. This quote from a high-ranking Chinese general, Xiong Guangkai, is so revealing. He called Pakistan China's Israel. Just let that sink in for a second. This isn't just about business or some simple alliance. This frames Pakistan as a core, absolutely essential strategic partner for Beijing in the region, sort of a proxy to project power and keep their mutual rivals in check. So here's the bottom line. We have to stop thinking about this as a simple, two-sided rivalry. The India-Pakistan conflict is now, very clearly, a strategic triangle. You've got India, Pakistan, and its incredibly powerful patron, China. Every single calculation, every move is now caught up in this complex three-body problem. And this new strategic reality, with China as an active player, has enabled a totally new way of fighting a war. One that shifts away from those slow, grinding ground battles to something much, much faster and far more direct. For years, India's military doctrine was this thing called cold start. The basic idea was to quickly mobilize huge army divisions for a punishing ground assault. But it was slow, it was really cumbersome, and it risked massive escalation. What we saw in OperationSindoor was something new, a strategy of cost imposition. This uses swift, precise standoff weapons. We're talking cruise missiles, drones, to directly attack terrorist infrastructure and impose a cost without having to do a full-scale mobilization. And this is a brilliant way to think about the core concept. Instead of just threatening to act, The action is the message. It's the tool of coercion. The goal isn't just to stop one single future attack, but to constantly degrade the enemy's ability to act over time. It's a strategy of attrition, famously compared to the Israeli concept of mowing the grass. You know the grass is going to grow back, but you cut it down over and over to keep it under control. And of course, you can't have a new strategy like this without the new tech to back it up. We're talking about weapons like the French-made Scalp cruise missile, fired from Rafale jets, Israeli Harop loitering munitions, basically suicide drones, and the super-effective Russian S-400 air defense system. This whole thing shifts the battlefield away from the trenches and squarely into the air and cyber domains, where speed and precision are everything. Okay, so to really understand the weight of all these new developments, we got to take a quick step back and look at the historical roots of this conflict. I mean, why has this region been a flashpoint for over 75 years? Well, the answer lies in the messy, violent partition of British India. This document, right here, this is pretty much where it all began. This is the instrument of accession for Jammu and Kashmir from October 1947. The state's Hindu ruler decided to join India, even though Kashmir had a Muslim majority. Pakistan immediately contested it, and that sparked the very first of many wars over this territory. This single piece of paper is the legal and historical heart of the entire dispute. So the initial fight over land quickly became about more. By 1948, the fight was also over water, a critical point of leverage. And while some treaties in 1960 and 1972 tried to manage these tensions by creating rules for water sharing and drawing a line of control, they never solved the core problem. Instead, each event just added another layer of scar tissue to that original wound. Now, looking forward, there's a new and powerful stressor being thrown into this already dangerous mix: climate change. The fight for a dwindling, essential resource is now colliding with the spread of advanced weapons, and that is creating an incredibly dangerous situation. Take a look at this number. Pakistan's per capita water availability has dropped below 1,000 cubic meters. Now, that is the internationally recognized red line for a water-scarce country. And with a booming population and melting glaciers, this number is only going to get worse, turning water scarcity into a genuine existential threat. And this is where it gets really chilling. This quote from Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, "Blood and water cannot flow together." It explicitly connects water access to the ongoing conflict. It basically turns the Indus Waters Treaty, which was once a symbol of cooperation, into a potential weapon in India's strategic toolbox. You know, for decades, the Indus Waters Treaty was seen as a diplomatic miracle. It survived multiple wars. But now, with both nations facing severe water stress, that treaty is under immense pressure. India, because it's the upstream country, can control the flow, giving it enormous leverage over a downstream water-scarce Pakistan. So a shared resource is quickly becoming a strategic vulnerability. Which brings us to our final, pretty unsettling question. The rules have totally changed. The battlefield now includes satellites and cruise missiles. China is an active player, and the very water needed for survival is becoming a tool of coercion. So, in a warming world, armed with these new weapons, can these old rivals actually navigate this treacherous new landscape and avoid the ultimate catastrophe? That remains the terrifying, unanswered question.